Horse walkers have traditionally been a way to exercise horses or to cool horses off after they've been exercised. And for many years, the type of walker that's been used is one where horses are attached, typically by a chain or maybe by a rope, to an arm that goes around, allowing horses to go in a circle. And it's served its purpose pretty well. These days, there's been a little bit of a trend for a different type of horse walker, like the one we have behind us, where horses actually aren't attached to anything but are allowed to either walk or trot or even canter freely while they're going around in the circles. Now, there's advantages and disadvantages to both techniques and both types of walkers. For instance, the smaller ones with the chains attached, they're usually relatively cheaper, and so that can be a big advantage for somebody who's on a budget. The big disadvantage with them is there are certainly some safety issues. It's not uncommon for a horse to rear up when they're attached to one of these chains, and certainly horses have gotten legs caught over them. So probably watching your horse and monitoring it while it's on the walker is probably a smart thing to do. The one nice thing about them is typically after your horse has been used to the walker for a number of times, it certainly knows how to lead very well. And this can be useful, with young horses that are in the early stages of training. And in the racehorse industry, horses are often ponied, and they certainly have lots of experience of being led around by a chain or a rope. And so again, there's some learning advantages. But the big disadvantages are, again, there's certainly a little bit more of a danger with horses getting injured with those type of walkers, and you're going on a smaller circle. With this type of walker that we have behind us, where the horses aren't attached to a chain, bigger circles, and bigger is usually a better thing. From the standpoint, it puts less stress on the legs as the horses are going around. And again, you don't have the issues with the horses potentially rearing up, getting a leg caught on a chain or on a rope. And as you can see here, the horses, they tend to be relaxed, but at the same point, they can run, they can play a little bit. The big cautionary tale when talking about these types of walkers is you want to encourage people not to try and exercise their horse routinely at too high of speeds. Circles with horses do put uneven loading on the joints, and hence if you're going at a high rate of speed, that actually increases the amount of loading. Certainly is common for horses that have been exercised for extended periods of time, at a fast trot or even a canter, to start developing some joint issues. When working these horses in this type of exerciser, the one thing that you can see is that it really won't put much stress on the joints at all. Again, you'd want to keep it at a relatively slow speed if you're doing this routinely. Now, the other thing that should be considered is that you want to pay close attention to the footing within the walker. You don't want to have it too deep. If it's too deep, that's going to put a lot of stress on soft tissues, your tendons. You might get some muscle strains occurring. And at the same point, if it's too hard, when the foot lands, it actually, again, prevents that horse's foot from landing kind of flat. It'll hit and it'll kind of create some torque on the leg. So simply put, things to consider. Bigger is better, so the larger the walker you have, the better it is. Of course, that has some disadvantages because it's going to be a little bit more costly, but in the long run, it can certainly work out to your advantages. But horse walkers are a great way to exercise multiple horses at a time, cool them off after you've ridden them, and just provide a way to save some labor for many different horse farms.